Let's do it. Wow. Dallas up
Wow.
3-1 in the series. Alexander Rajulov walks it off just 36 seconds into overtime. Connor, what a group that Dallas has this year. This team just looks more and more special. They were clearly outplayed in the first and third, and yet just a few seconds into overtime, they get the game winner from forward on the top line.
Absolutely. You got to love seeing it coming from the big guys that are getting paid the big money to do it. Rajulov has been playing extremely strong throughout the entirety of the series, and it's really good to see him get it. You could almost feel going into that overtime that even though the Stars were being outshot, they wanted the game more, and they had a good chance to get it, and they went out and took a quick advantage of an opportunity, and that's all she wrote.
You're there on location, American Airlines Center, in case you missed our intermission report. Connor is there at the Stars watch party at the American Airlines Center. What was that environment like when Rajulov flung that one through the net?
There was a vibe throughout the entire American Airlines Center that the Stars were going to get this one, and it just seemed like a matter of time. And he knocked that one in, and the crowd erupted for sure. There was a bit of an apprehensive vibe the whole time, as this is an unprecedented thing that everybody's going through right now. But
Right.
It was really exciting to see, and everyone was real happy to see it.
How about the goals for the Stars tonight? Jamie Oleksiak with 17 seconds before the end of the second. Nothing left in game at that point. Dallas only had 4 shots on net in the first period. Oleksiak scores in a breakaway when Mark Stone, one of the better players in the NHL, loses his footing. Dallas gets a 2-1-0, and Oleksiak comes it through. We talked about it in the second period, but how big did that goal turn out to be tonight?
It ended up being the real game breaker when it all boiled down to it. It was one of those goals that you get at the end of the period that just ends up disheartening the other team. And it's something that you want to avoid whenever you're going into a tie game intermission. You don't ever want to let the other team get a goal at the end of the period like that. And as soon as Oleksiak got that goal, you could really feel the momentum shift back onto the Stars side. And it ended up being a big one for us.
Shea Theodore tied the game quickly into the third. He's a player who's had a great postseason for Vegas coming into the series. He hasn't been a problem at all through the first two, but he scores there to tie the game. And then Connor, Jamie Benn, we were texting a little bit during the game. That was Art Ross trophy winning Jamie Benn stuff right there. A 2-on-1, Tyler Seguin and Joel Hanley, of all people, set things up. And Ben puts it right through the legs of Robin Leonard. He went 5-hole, I believe. What a goal that was from the Stars captain, who gets so much criticism. If you ask the Twitter pundits, and a lot of people in Stars Nation have really held Jamie Benn's feet to the fire because of the way he played late in the Colorado series. What do you think of that play?
Yep, you love to see it from the captain. He's been having a lot of haters and a lot of criticism coming his way. But at the end of the game, at the end of the day, he's just continued to do his thing. He's helped lead the Stars in points throughout the playoffs, and he's pretty much proved all of his wrong. A lot of the hockey community has believed that he's been washed up, and he hasn't necessarily been playing up to what he was worth, especially after he was given that big contract after his Art Ross year, which you had just mentioned earlier. But he's definitely back to his primo form right now, and it's good to see. He's rocking and rolling and leading the Stars. He was going out in the game originally and playing the body and definitely set the tone for the team. Went and got a quick goal, and then it ended up being his line that put the puck in the back of the net in the beginning first shift of overtime there. So you love to see it. Jamie Benn is back into his ideal form, and it's good to see.
Alex Tuck, who's another player that in the scouting report coming into game one, really he and Theodore were the two main offensive weapons that Dallas had to keep an eye on. Again, Tuck has not been a problem at all through the first 2 games of the series, but after Dallas takes all the momentum, you feel like they've got this under wraps and can walk away with the game 3 win after Ben's goal. That one was very questionable due to goaltender interference. I know, Connor, you thought that there was goaltender interference. Rick Bowness challenged. Turns out there wasn't. What did you make of that play and Tuck's 9th goal of the playoffs?
I understand why the refs don't want to make a no goal call on something that's that close, but in my opinion, I did not see Miro Heiskanen push Alex Tuck into Anton Hudovan, and this is my biggest point in feeling like it was goaltender interference. Now, the officials have a very difficult job in making a call like that. Part of me is happy to see them let him play in the playoffs, but at the same time, I feel like the Stars got the short end of that stick on the call, and they ended up pulling it out in the overtime, so it didn't end up mattering either way there for us.
Last thing that we need to break down before we look at some big picture stuff. Alexander Rajulov, you mentioned it. The Stars get some beef out of their first line. He's been relatively quiet since the Game 7, where he had a couple of big goals along with Yoel's Kiviranta's hat trick. But he's got his 8th goal of the postseason there. He beat Robin Leonard's stick side on a breakaway. Vegas was completely out of touch defensively, which has got to be so frustrating for Peter DeBoer and company, because they played a great defensive game. They're not in position there in overtime, and Radulov takes advantage of it. What a moment that was. What was the AAC's reaction to Rajulov's goal?
He put that one in so quick, I don't even think everybody was back from the bathrooms yet, but it came in. You heard the shot ring off the post and go bar down, and everybody was really excited to see it around Dallas, that's for sure.
What a win that was for Dallas. And suddenly, after a paltry performance in Game 2, you blink, and they are just 6 wins away from a Stanley Cup. I just cannot believe the ride that this team is on. We've been very fortunate to cover it. Connor, I don't know why, but tonight of all nights, I'm walking away from that game, since Dallas was so significantly outplayed. 4 shots in the first, 4 shots in the third. Vegas outshoots them by 17. I'm walking away saying, look, this team is still special. They have clearly gone to Edmonton with a purpose, and that purpose is to win a Stanley Cup. And it looks like the Stars have just taken that to mind, and it's reflecting on the ice more than any other team besides Tampa.
Yep. So you can definitely tell the Stars definitely have been playing their game, and although they were outshot in this game, I don't think that they were necessarily great outplayed. They were outshot. There were definitely points in the game in which they were outplayed, but they played their game, and they really limited Vegas Golden Knights' opportunities to the outside of the offensive zone. They didn't really allow them any very good chances. There wasn't a ton of traffic in front of Hudovan on the shots that came from the outside and came from the point. Really able to work. You could tell that the Vegas Golden Knights were not necessarily going as hard offensively as they have in the past, because they want to give Dallas any opportunity. Well, we also limited their opportunities and did a pretty good job of capitalizing on ours. So the Stars have pretty much proven that they enjoy and playing a little bit of that underdog role. And once again, we see that come to fruition in a W in Game 3 for the Dallas Stars here this evening.
First star of the game, Anton Hudovan. I thought this was one of his best games of the postseason. I mean, he's been great for Dallas ever since they got to the qualifying round and on into the traditional postseason. He started every single game save for 3, and pretty much every one that Ben Bishop has been in net. He has not been 100%. They've been unmitigated disasters. Dobie's done a really good job of just keeping things between the lines. He's given up some 4-goal performances. He's had some 5-goal games. But tonight, Connor, when I watch Anton Hudovan in net, I just think that is a goalie with great instinct. You know what I mean? It feels like he always makes the right save at the right time. He knows when to go down into the butterfly. He knows when to guard the post. And I thought that was really evident tonight, stopping 38 out of 40 Vegas shots.
Yep, he has great poise in net. You can tell he has great hockey awareness and hockey sense in regard to the game, and he can hang in those low-scoring games, and he can also hang in those high-scoring games, like you mentioned earlier. He's going to have a couple games where a few slam, but he stood on his head at multiple times tonight, and it was very clear that had it not been for W and net, it would have been a different song and dance here this evening.
Connor, 55 hits from the Stars tonight. What is your reaction when I throw out that number?
hey, playing the body is definitely going to be the best way to get the other team's offensive talents to look over their shoulder. And it was definitely something that was able to play into our advantage tonight. And as long as we can continue playing the body that way, we should have a pretty good opportunity moving forward to advance in this series.
Very interesting the way that this game broke down. Vegas's power play has been completely anemic since midway through the Vancouver series. Tonight, they draw 4 Dallas penalties. Theodore's goal, the only power play. Dallas only gets on the power play once. They can't do anything with it. What do you make with the way that the penalties were called in this game?
Yep, the refs were definitely letting them play here this evening, but ended up working out to our advantage. So no complaints on my end as far as that goes. And Stars live to see another day.
So there were a lot of woos ringing throughout the AAC as I heard fans exiting the building. Now it's pretty quiet now. What did you make of the entire atmosphere throughout the night?
It was definitely an interesting, unprecedented thing that we're going through right now. Everybody is here and just happy to be here. And at the same time, it seems like people are getting more and more comfortable throughout the game. I'm going to be here again as well on Saturday evening, so we'll be able to get a little bit of touch of it on Saturday, and look forward to some more coverage here.
Absolutely. All right, friend, the floor is yours. What do you think? What are you walking away from Game 3 feeling?
You have to have a really good feeling about the Dallas Stars moving forward here. Even though they didn't outshoot their opponents this evening, you could tell that they were controlling the pace of the game, and that's the Stars, definitely the Stars' MO here. And that's what it's going to be moving forward. It's just making sure that the Vegas Golden Knights don't get to open up things too much, don't give them too many good scoring chances, keep putting the body on them, and just try and capitalize on our opportunities whenever their defense makes a couple mistakes. So feeling good about it moving forward. The Stars are 2 wins away from their first Stanley Cup appearance in over 15 years.
I can't believe it.
Or excuse me, over 13 years. It's unreal. You got to love it. Gotta love it.
Oh my goodness. Well, Dallas walks away winner 3-2 in overtime. They did not spare the theatrics. Oftentimes in this playoff run, it's been very entertaining, very heart-pounding hockey for the Stars. But in the end, when it pays off like this and like it did last Friday, oh my goodness, it is so fun to be a part of. Hey, Connor, this was fun. I think you did a really good job reporting on Saturday. What say we do it again on Saturday?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Garrett. We'll talk to you soon.
Dallas leads the series 2-1. Hopefully we'll have the whole crew, including our editor-in-chief, Dylan Duell, who has expressed a little more interest in the Stars over this playoff run. I think he might be joining us on Saturday, so we might have a full house for what could be a very big Game 4. If Vegas does not take this one, I think that Dallas has a ticket punched to the Stanley Cup final. I'm not ready to write them off just yet. I think that Game 4 is going to determine pretty much who wins the series. But I do think that Dallas is sitting very pretty right now. They did a lot of things right tonight, and hopefully they can carry today's game. 7 o'clock, the puck drop on NBC. I love that in the bubble, how it's a standard every other day between the two conferences with a set puck drop at 7 o'clock Central. That's been the best part of the playoffs in the bubble, in my opinion. We'll cover it all no matter when it comes, no matter where it comes. Dallas Stars Fanatic Podcast, breaking down games live. You can find us on Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow Connor's work at DallasSportsFanatic.com. He's got the game recap coming up on Saturday. You can follow me on Twitter at GJonesOnAir, and follow us as a company at Dallas_Fanatic. Signing off for the Dallas Stars Fanatic Podcast, I'm Garrett Jones. He's Connor Baird, reporting live in Dallas. We'll see you next time, Stars fans. Your team is up 2-1 in the Western Conference Final.